Chit Chat is sponsored by Fun Again Games, where everyone is welcome at our table, and your source for hard-to-find imports, liquidation games, new releases, and much more. Be sure to visit funagain.com to check it out. It's episode 92 of Chit Chat. Have you been looking for it? Well, you found it, and we're going to be talking about all of our most anticipated games and other things for 2022. And speaking of games, yeah, we've been playing some. Welcome back, everyone, to Chit Chat. This is episode 92, and it's our very first Chit Chat of 2022.
Oh, it is, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it's been a minute. We admit it's been a minute since our last Chit Chat. We've been talking about how we can do more of these. More on that a little bit later.
Also, what happened to our last episode, we'll talk about.
As well. More reveals to come.
That's true. We got a lot to talk about and get off of our chests. But this is episode 92. We're going to be talking about most anticipated. Mm-hmm. Now, you might think, oh, great, we're going to get your most anticipated games of 2022. Well, no, kind of, sort of. You're going to get our most anticipated game of 2022, one for each of us, but you're also going to get our most anticipated other things for 2022. And before we get to that, though, let's talk about a prize that we're going to give away for this episode.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so thank you to everyone that's watching right now. Please, if you comment on this video, you'll be entered to win Brian Boru, which is kind of was a big hit last year. I think it did really well. It's a fun little, area control kind of
trick-taking
game a little bit.
Sounds like Ryan barely knows the game, but
he doesn't want to call it trick-taking. That's your thing. I knew it. I don't really want to call it trick-taking.
Now
it has trick-taking in it.
That is fair. It is more area control, and it is kind of trick-taking.
You'll find out for yourself if you win. So just please comment.
Yeah, comment below, and you have a chance to win it. Now that we've won you over with a contest, we have some bad news. We did record a most anticipated list for 2022.
And we were really anticipating it.
We were.
I've been anticipating it for a while.
I was anticipating the release of said video, but...
Yeah, oh, by the way, I forgot to introduce us. If you're not familiar with us, we might have some new viewers. I'm David, this is Emily, this is Ryan, and you just heard Jeremy, who I assume probably came
I'm
up
an intern in the back, apparently. I'm the intern in the back. I'm behind the scenes. Hey, guys, I'm in the control room. Keep going.
Jeremy is doing control room type
back
things
to you.
off camera.
Back to you.
It's like the producer of a radio show that's in the other room.
Hey, David, your mic's hot.
I keep forgetting that they're going to be seeing you doing the things that you're doing.
You don't have to, this isn't like a radio drama where we're describing.
Hey, my name is Jeremy Howard, MDM Ad Hoc.
Now, I have a quick question. Does it feel like this is the first Chit Chat we've been back to in a while? Because it feels like it's already off the rails.
We're a little rusty. It's okay.
It's a little rusty, but unfortunately, our 2022 most anticipated was a victim of deleted files. Mm-hmm. We had recorded when we did our top 10, which you hopefully have already seen for 2021. We recorded around that exact same time. In fact, right after we recorded our most anticipated, and through a string of errors, all my fault, the video files were deleted. We do have the audio files, so I would like to know, make some comments below, should we release the audio files?
I think so, like a podcast
Release
format.
the files.
So we get asked a lot, and a lot of people that are watching right now, or should I say listening right now, I've been told, listen to our Chit Chats on the road, almost like as a podcast or like an audio thing.
Please don't watch while driving. Just listen.
No, people listen all the time.
Fair.
People listen to podcasts all the time when they're driving, especially board game podcasts are really good for that. So I think people will listen. I think you tell us, just tell me I'm right. Tell me you'd love to listen to our top anticipated as a podcast.
Well, if that's how you feel, tell us that, please.
Don't lie to me.
But anyway, long story short, our most anticipated list only exists as an audio file. If you want to hear that, maybe we'll put it out somewhere. But tonight we're going to be talking about just one of those games each, sort of our most anticipated. And then we're each going to do a most anticipated anything. Like it might be most anticipated meal or movie or event or whatever. And then finally, we're going to talk about our most anticipated thing that we want for the channel. Because we're all interested in doing some new things with the channel. And we're going to share some of that. And we'd like to hear from you, too, on that front as well. And then we'll talk, of course, about the games we've been playing. So, who wants to start tonight with their most anticipated... Should we save the games for last?
No, we should.
No, I think we should start with the games.
Okay, I guess we're starting with the games. Emily's
really
starting.
She's like, no,
Emily's taking the reins.
I've been sitting on this for so long.
My most anticipated game for this year is Weather Machine.
Yes.
This is one that we got an early copy of. I loved the playthrough, and I'm just super, super excited for everyone to get their hands on it. And for it to just be like, everyone be like, who wants to play? Who wants to play? And I'm like, me. And I'm going to get so many plays of this game.
I played 3 games right now.
Yeah, I played that prototype, and I felt so sad when I had to send it. Oh,
I know, right?
I felt so sad.
It is interesting. You know, we get a lot of prototypes here, and we see a lot of games. So oftentimes we don't even have time to like replay a game or a prototype we've had after we've done content. But there are those rare prototypes that we get, and we're like, try to get as many plays as we possibly can in. Weather Machine was
or
one.
The publisher says, "Hey, I need you to send it elsewhere," and you're like, you want to totally be like, I dropped it.
Like, what game
you totally don't want to give it back. You're like, you sure? It's kind of damaged. I got it wet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you probably don't want me to send it on. It does happen. Yeah. In fact, as of today when we're recording this, Ryan and I just did a live stream for Earth. I'll tell you how that happened. We wanted to keep Earth for a little bit longer because, well, I like it, to be fair, quite a bit. But Emily loves it. And she and Ryan went off on some cabin retreat with, what, like 12 people last week? And Emily was hoping to take it, so they took it. And you played it how many times?
I played it 3 different times this weekend alone.
Taught and played it 3 different times in the course of a weekend. So, but we did the live stream. So sadly now we have some friends coming Friday to take it away.
I would imagine at least, if Earth was a 2022 release.
Oh, it would have been.
That it might be your most anticipated.
It would have, yeah.
Yeah, but it probably will be a 2023.
It will be most likely early 2023. Yeah.
But her most anticipated.
Weather Machine was excellent. I played that.
Yeah,
I played that 5 times now, and it's quickly become my favorite Lacerda. I love Lacerda games already. I mean, On Mars was my favorite because the theme. I love space stuff, but then he comes out with the steampunk game. I have a love for steampunk that goes beyond anything healthy.
Whoa.
I'm not kidding. Like, how many books have I picked up? I'm like, oh look, a steampunk cover, and the book is not good. But they get me with those steampunk covers every
It's everything we can do to get him to take his monocle out before we start recording.
I have a monocle.
He's got a monocle and a top hat. And...
I did a role-playing game that was all steampunk, and to promote it, I had a whole steampunk outfit that I wore when I went to the cons to promote the game.
It's a lifestyle for Ryan. Okay, we didn't know all this going in the Chit Chat, guys.
It was way back when I was first starting in the industry. I was in my 20s, just a kid. And
just young little 20-year-old Ryan.
He's giving up all the goods. We didn't even know all this. Seriously.
Well, I haven't played it. I am looking forward to trying it. Because as long as we had it,
don't balk at the play.
Everyone was hogging it, and I didn't get a chance to play it. Although, to be fair,
it's in his upper tier.
It's
definitely in his upper tier releases, no question.
Yes.
Really? Well, if I'm gonna embrace a Lacerda game, it's probably the one I should.
It's a good starter one too.
Really?
It is.
I totally agree. It is a good starter one because it does give you sort of a combination of what he does.
Yeah.
In the mechanics in this game, whereas like Kanban is a very extreme version of certain things that he does in his game. You know, or Gallerus is a very simplistic version of what he does in his games. Whereas this game is like a blender of some of those things in the game, like the simplicity of turns, but also this kind of how the person moves around is very much like Sandra moves around in Kanban. Right So there's some familiarity there, but it definitely sets itself apart thematically as well because of the way it plays out. But yeah, it definitely feels like somewhat of a greatest hits, but definitely its own design as well. So you definitely have something to look forward to. And Eagle Griffin does not disappoint in their prototypes.
Sure.
I mean, I still have the prototype for On Mars, for God's sakes. So, no, for the expansion for On Mars, I still have the prototype because it's that good. And I'm really excited about what they have basically coming to us in 2022. So
cool. Well, my most anticipated is one that we also had a chance to play. In fact, the three of us. Jeremy, I don't think you did, but this one is Divinus from Lucky Duck.
That was so much fun.
Divinus, we played it on the channel, and this, unlike the prototypes we were just talking about, we really couldn't play this over and over and over, not the way it should be played. I mean, we kind of could have, but this is a giant sort of campaign tile placement game, legacy tile placement game that has app assistance in that Lucky Duck fashion that is really, really cool. And we played, what was it, 2 or 3? How many scenarios?
Two.
Just a couple scenarios were all that was included in what we had. But it was enough to really get me excited because I said it when we had it, and I'll say it again now. In a weird way, it gave me very My City vibes in terms of what I feel like the kind of experience it will be. And I really, as much as I'd like to play with you, Ryan,
I know you're going to play with Alicia.
I think I'll probably play with Alicia because I really enjoyed playing through My City with her all the way through, and I think Divinus will be a really cool experience.
I'm still having a hard time understanding what's going on in the game and like what people are over the moon about with this game, because I'm hearing a lot of positive feedback on it, so I'm not like questioning that. It's just that like I can't see it from afar, and I feel like the game, since it does have that app experience, that's probably what I'm missing because I'm not seeing the visuals.
Yeah,
you know? Like I'm not feeling the visuals, so like I don't, by just looking at what's going on the board, I don't know the whole story or like how it works mechanically. So maybe it's just that part of the experience I need to feel.
Yeah, I think you do. I think it's a balance, right? Like you're doing just enough, and then you're getting a bunch of story from the app, and you're getting a bunch of story from what's changing over time, that you feel both immersed in the story, but also like you have enough agency to do things yourself and to like make an impact on what's going to happen or choices I make.
Yeah, the top placement is fun.
I'm skeptical, but of course with Lucky Duck, I've mostly have great experiences, not good, great experiences. So I don't doubt it. It's just that like, just like Destiny's, I wasn't sure, and then I liked the final result, but it's like, here I am again, like I need something. I need something else or something I'm missing.
What I think the last thing I'll say about it, to put it into words, is I think it's very accessible and very straightforward. It's not like the most complicated, robust game.
Sure.
Okay.
No.
Like My City. If you ever played My City, that's a very sort of straightforward experience that just kind of keeps giving you a little bit more. And I think this is going to do that same thing, but in a very cool and clever way that really, I feel like when I played Divinus, it felt to me like Lucky Duck had really cracked how to best use the sort of app-assisted stuff that they've done.
It felt great.
Interesting. Well, they are the kings of it, so it's not like, you know.
And they've stuck with it well. Like, I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff they've got coming up. So that's what I'm looking forward to releasing. What about you?
Dark Quarter.
Ooh. Yeah, Dark Quarter.
Dark Quarter too. That's their next. That's their next one.
I know. Let me say, I'm anticipating getting that prototype.
Yeah,
that game's not coming out for a few years, but I'm excited.
We should be getting the Dark Quarter prototype here in the next within the next several weeks.
I anticipate my mailbox is going to be insane in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
So my most anticipated game that's coming out this year is one that I've been looking forward to for a while. Talked about it on the channel. And that is Vampire the Masquerade Chapters Montreal, which takes place all in the city of Montreal. I'm a big Vampire the Masquerade fan. I played the role-playing game for years when I was younger. Kind of got to live in that world. And Chapters brings you like back into that game. It immerses you so much in that experience, and it really does feel like a role-playing game. I know there's been a lot of games that are like role-playing in a box, you know, and that kind of Gloomhaven is like the pinnacle of that. Mm-hmm. But I would say where Gloomhaven is, the focus is on the tactical combat, you know, and a lot of these boxes are. The focus of Vampire Chapters is on the role-playing.
Really?
Yeah, and I know that seems weird, but you're not really like role-playing with it like anybody, but you're playing out a story from the perspective of your character. And you're doing so, everyone gets a book, and it's their character's book, and it has all these entries and things that you can play through for your character. Kind of tells your character's story, intermingled with the story of the overarching campaign, which is a huge story that can go in multiple different directions. What I really like about it is that every chapter is literally a book. And you pull this book out, and every time you go to do something, it really feels like a choose-your-own adventure. If it's your turn, I hand you the book. You say, I'm going to go talk to these people. And you flip to that section in the book, and it tells you exactly what happens, and it gives you choices. And so the whole game is driven by these choices. But Unlike some games where it's like, okay, I go there, oh, I fail. All right, David, you want to try? Oh, you fail. When you fail or succeed, it changes the state of the game. So if you go try to talk your way out of something and fail, it might lead into a combat, and now you're in a combat, you can't go back and retry that. So if your character's not good at talking, maybe you shouldn't try to be the one that goes and talks for them, right? And so there's all these different options that play into your character's strengths and weaknesses, and these options might lead you to other branching paths, right? So once you start a fight, then it becomes, can you get the fight finished before the police show up? If you wait too long, the police will come up, and then it causes a whole thing. Or if you try to, you're a vampire, so if you try to suck the blood out of these people and leave their bodies behind, which is the thing you can do, the Vampire Council doesn't like that because you're leaving proof of vampire. So there's just all this stuff going on within every scenario, and your decisions really, really direct the flow of the story in a way that I've not really seen before. And it just felt so immersive.
I'm just really glad that you prefaced the sucking blood part with reminding us that you're a vampire.
You are a vampire.
Just to me, I don't want to offend anyone. You are vampires, so you will be sucking blood.
This is a very informative episode of Chit Chat where we find that Brian, that Ryan likes steampunk vampires. Basically.
Yeah, what if the game was steampunk vampires?
So if you ever want a game, design a game, steampunk vampires.
I love it.
He's all in.
I would absolutely love that.
Which actually does sound kind of good, though. Sounds like a good,
steampunk vampires. We might be onto something there. I will say, all hyperbole aside, we are well, Emily's not prone to hyperbole too much on this channel, although she loves Earth pretty well.
I am.
We are, though, generally speaking, but I can tell you, Ryan has consistently, for a while now, been raving about this game every time it comes up. So, it would have never been on my radar, but it absolutely is something I want to try now based on your enthusiasm.
Let me just tell you, you would love it, because you know how you like opening up a box and there's all the envelopes of different content? This is literally books. Like, you open up a tray, and it's just like 10 books in a row, and you just like pull out the book, and they're thick books too.
Ryan's also a librarian, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I like books.
I like envelopes better than books, I think, because it just means reading.
I mean, there's a lot of there is a lot of reading in this, but yeah, it's just I think people are going to love it.
I think you sent me the prototype, Ryan, and like I looked at the prototype, read through some of the books that were in there, and I was just like, you know what, Ryan? I watched your little video right after that, and then you got me so hyped, I spent like $200. So here I am. Whatever I get, I get. And you know what I know about Vampire the Masquerade? The video game that was on PlayStation.
Oh, I remember that game.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I think you're going to like it. For a solo player.
Bloodlines?
Yeah, Bloodlines, yeah.
Bloodlines? Yeah. So I remember that. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with my knowledge of Bloodlines and your fanboy video and really bank on my $230.
I mean, you'll get your money out of it, man, because I know you like to play games solo, and I know you like those narrative experiences, and this game is super narrative driven.
Cool.
I'm
Jeremy,
coming
what
for blood if you don't, if you're wrong.
Jeremy, what is your most anticipated game for 2022?
So this is pretty easy. So if you know kind of my top games, one of my favorite game of all time is Mage Knight, and my number 2, which we're having a little shakeup with that one right now, is Gloomhaven. And Gloomhaven is just one of my favorite games. It's everything I want in a board game, but it did have its flaws. And one of the big ones is that you had the same mission basically every time. It was kill everything, just kill everything, and get to the end or whatever. Well, for this one I'm talking about is Frosthaven, which I played the prototype of this one, and I was just blown away at how much they changed even the smallest little things. Because now you're going to, you're not just going and killing everything. There's high floors and low floors. There's changing boards. There's all kinds of different things that they've kind of made up and listened to feedback. And the writing is better. The writing is a lot better. So I care about the story of the game, not just, hey, okay, another fighting puzzle. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
And the decks in this game, the characters are just so much so much better and more interesting than the ones I've played. Now, I've only played, I want to say, 11 or 12 of the 16 characters from Gloomhaven.
It's crazy how you're saying it's so much better too, Jeremy, because people love Gloomhaven already.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
so
not
I
like
love Gloomhaven, but the thing is I feel like Frosthaven could be better. Like, could just grow a little bit better. And it's just because they're doing so much more with the design, and they're adding more actual, like, something that gives you a little bit more connective tissue to what you're doing versus just kind of scanning over and looking for whatever it is the answer is or the next thing is which is what I did in my 60 hours of Gloomhaven. So I'm really excited about this game, and I know it's coming. So I know it's coming this year, which makes me very happy because I know it's you know, it's one thing to know a Kickstarter is coming because there's a lot of games that are being kicked to 2023 already, and to know this one is coming at some point in 2022. I'm very excited about that.
That is pretty exciting that it's coming out.
You didn't even talk about the coolest thing about Frosthaven.
What's that?
The outpost building. That's what I'm psyched about. Being able to come back from all of your adventuring and go back to Frosthaven itself and actually build up the city by building new buildings. This is so cool because those buildings are going to give you items and crafting options going forward. And some of these buildings, when fully upgraded, will give you access to new character classes, which I think is so cool.
That is pretty cool. That is.
So for Ryan tonight, we have steampunk.
Yeah.
Okay. We have vampires.
Yep.
And someone who's more hype about the game than himself, than me. Okay. So that's who we have.
I'm a big. It's no secret that I'm a big Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, Frosthaven.
No, but it is. I mean, honestly, there's just so much stuff that makes this game better. That it's shooting for bigger things. And like I said, since I had the prototype and I got to see, I think like 4 or 5 characters they gave us. There's this one character that's like made of like ants or bugs or whatever. Yeah. But it's 2 decks. It's 2 different decks. And it's so many cool ideas. So many cool ideas they've come up with, and it just never gets old to play with that hand management puzzle. And the fact that they've added new stuff to it. So I can go on forever, but Frosthaven.
Yeah, I think you're probably not alone in that. There's probably a ton of people watching who it's on their list too.
Yeah.
Now, aside from games, we also wanted to talk about just things that we're personally looking forward to and anticipating in 2022. And we're going to start back with Emily.
Oh, okay.
And this is breaking news, right?
Late breaking news.
Late breaking news.
So my most anticipated thing for this year is that we are actually moving.
We're not moving.
We're not moving.
Me
Emily's
and my
moving.
partner and our 3 dogs are moving. So we live in Indy right now, and we're moving all the way to Seattle. So it's going to be a big move for us, and we're super excited. I've known about it since like November, but we've been caught up with a bunch of fun insurance stuff.
That sounds super fun.
What a blast.
But we got really good news this past week that they are finally agreeing to pay for our hail claim from like a year ago.
Yay.
So we are really doing it.
That's been a long time.
We're really getting ready, going to sell our house, going to move, and I am very much anticipating this because we've been wanting to do it for a while, and now it's really in the works, and we're super excited about it.
That's cool. Now, what's not cool about it is that you're probably not going to see her sitting in this chair much.
Maybe you'll see her in this other box in this other corner.
Unless she plans to commute from Seattle every few weeks. Is that
we got to open MVM. We got MVM North.
MVM North. Now. And now we've got West. We just got to get someone out east.
Unfortunately, Seattle is not cheap to fly into or come out of.
No, it's not.
It's not at all. It's a very expensive place to fly
Well, what this means is we're going to have to get a camera for Emily and some recording equipment so that she can dial in just like Jeremy, and then we'll have like 2 heads popping up off the bottom of the screen.
Is this how they work? They just like float like this?
They do. They float like this. Have you never watched one of our Chit Chats?
It's just floating.
But yeah,
don't
that
worry,
is
guys.
exciting
I'm just
news.
the intern. Hey.
We will miss having her here in Indy.
For sure.
But she's not moving away from the channel.
Correct.
So we're gonna try to dial her in and dial everyone in as much as possible.
And hopefully we'll still be able to do our weekends, like when, we do a lot of content, like when Jeremy comes down to visit. We can try to schedule something.
Yeah, maybe we'll figure something out like that. But it hasn't happened yet, so she's still here. We might chain her down.
Anticipated.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
I don't think anything could get Emily to stay. Seattle's such a good opportunity.
No, she is legit. She is super excited.
It's a really good opportunity. So,
Ryan, what's your most anticipated thing?
This is easy for me. I've been most anticipating this for a long time, and I only have a couple more months to wait. That is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I am So excited for this movie. For those who don't know, you can add this to the list of things I love. It's at the top of the list, and that's Marvel. I've always been...
Really?
Yeah,
I'm just
surprise.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I've always been a big Marvel fanboy. I mean, my ring has the Avengers logo on it. So yeah, I mean, sure, I've been excited about all, like, Shang-Chi was awesome. I like the Black Widow. I like the Eternals, whatever. I like them.
So,
but this is the one that I've been looking forward to for so long because I've always loved the idea of the multiverse in Marvel, and especially after seeing No Way Home, which was phenomenal.
Spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
Spoiler alert, it was phenomenal?
Well,
the other,
you tied it to the multiverse.
I did because these movies are basically tied together.
Yeah.
The events of Spider-Man lead directly into the events of Doctor Strange, which I was already excited about it because of WandaVision last year and those events leading into it, and Wanda being back and America Chavez coming up, who's one of my favorite characters, and seeing all of these cool different versions of Doctor Strange. It's going to be absolutely wild, and I'm going to see that movie 5 times in theaters.
Wow.
I mean, I'll go back. I feel like unless I'm incredibly off base, and I'm not usually with this stuff, I think that this one is going to be so good that I'm going to want to go back and see the next day.
I'll probably want to see this. Of all the Marvel movies, this one does look like it's going to have the most little things to pick apart and to look for.
Yeah.
Like even the trailer, if you haven't watched the trailer, finish Chit Chat. And then go watch the trailer for Doctor Strange because there's a lot of tiny little things in
and
it.
Patrick Stewart
I'm not watching. I watched the teaser. I watched part of a trailer and turned it off. I'm just not. I'm not falling for the Disney show everything right when the movie starts. I'm just not.
Fight!
If it's anything like what they did with No Way Home, though, I can say that they have not shown anything. Hearing Patrick Stewart's voice again was enough for me to lose my mind. So
what I'm hearing from all of Ryan's fanboy, what I'm going to say is, if the Blade movie comes out,
oh my gosh,
and it's steampunk, you've got steampunk vampires in the Marvel universe.
Well, I would love it if it was. Mahershala Ali is playing Blade, so that can't go wrong with him.
Yeah, that should be.
I could do a whole Marvel sideshow. Honestly.
Apparently, it seems like we know that he's a Marvel fanboy, but this is I can feel the energy coming off here.
Very excited.
And we could have a long conversation about how it's not possible for Blade to stink. Like it's just not possible. Like it's a movie that pays off. It's got to be rated R. It's got to be it's just like what was his name? What's his name? Not Daredevil, but
Deadpool.
Or Daredevil.
Deadpool.
But Deadpool. Like it's just one of those. Hey, let's take the gloves off characters.
Oh yeah.
And let's just
really
lean into it and let it be what it is. The most raw character.
What's your bet right now? Do you think it'll be R-rated?
Yes.
I hope so. I honestly do hope so.
I have no idea.
She doesn't know. She doesn't care. I think it'll be PG-13.
Really?
Yeah.
But
you can do a lot with PG-13 nowadays. Like PG-13 is not as bad as it was when we were kids, but it definitely PG-13 is. I mean, it's a whole different level.
I think they could still do a really dark. I don't know how we got talking about Blade now.
Well, because of you and your Marvel fanboyness.
Can Blade also be anticipated by me? Yes. Blade is going to be phenomenal, and even if it's not rated like R, they've shown even with like Moon Knight coming out that looks really dark that they can handle that kind of dark thing without going maybe too far.
So one of the things, and I have a lot of things I'm looking forward to, and this is related to what we do, so it isn't exactly just a personal thing. But one of the things I'm really looking forward to is conventions that we can get back to, and hopefully this year be even more normal of an experience than it has been. Now, I do think we're still going to be wearing some masks in here. I'm fine with all that. None of that bothers me. But the closer and closer we can get to getting back to that same old experience of getting together, sitting down with a lot of people, playing games, meeting new people. We had a little bit of that last year. But we're going to have one particular instance coming up this year, and this is a bit of a plug. We're all going, hopefully, to the Buckeye Game Fest in Columbus, Ohio in April. I think it's 7th to the 10th. And we're going to be guests of the show. All of us are going to go there. Alicia's even coming. And we're going to spend a few days just sitting around playing games with people, playing new games, probably playing some old games. But it's going to be... That's the kind of con that I'm really most excited about this year, is getting back to not the big commercial cons, although I love those too, but these sorts of cons where you just go to play games.
Well, that's what we usually have one here in Indy that's like that.
Well, that's a pretty small one.
Pretty small, and it's like 100 people. So we didn't get to have that this year because of COVID. So we went with just some of our closest friends and did one. It was like 12, 14 people.
Yeah, their closest friends. It was these two. I wasn't there. Apparently, I'm not.
Were you invited or not?
I'm just kidding. I was invited. I just thought I'd give you a hard time. But anyway, that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to on a personal level because I just love doing that sort of thing and playing games with new people that I've just met for the first time at a convention.
Yeah, that was the hardest thing I think about good conventions this past year was there was not a lot of face-to-face gaming, obviously.
No.
Because of restrictions, it just wasn't considered safe at the time. I don't know what the world situation is going to look like by August or September when like Gen Con happens and Essen happens. I'm hoping that things are maybe a little safer. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it feels like it's continuing to get in that way, but I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it. So
we get COVID 2. It's going to
COVID 2, the sequel. Jeremy, what is it that you are on a personal level looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Essen. I've never been to Essen. I just want to do it. It's like one of those big goals for me. So I've been kind of like really, really working hard to kind of figure out a way to make sure I get there this year. I mean, I had an opportunity to go last year, and every plan that I made around it that was supposed to be a big deal that I can't go to Essen, they all failed, and I could have went to Essen. So I was like, everything that I said I couldn't go to Essen for all went to the wayside and got canceled.
Oh my gosh.
And, so this year I'm putting in the plans in place earlier this year, and hopefully it goes really well and I get a chance to go, Lord willing. So yeah, it's just been a kind of a dream of mine in the industry.
Sure.
Since I've been in the industry to try it out and just kind of soak in the culture, but also soak in board games and also meet publishers that I've talked to since back when I had my tiny old blog, because I like a lot of Japanese, Taiwanese, games that are from tiny publishers, and those people still know me to this day, which is kind of cool. So I like to meet them in person and shake their hand. And things like that. So it'd be really nice to see some of those people and also just play some games that are different.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd say there's a very slight chance I'm going to try to get to Essen this year, but it might not happen for me this year. But I definitely, if it's not this year, for sure, I want to make sure that happens next year.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Essen. I've never been either.
It'd be fun. Have you ever been to Germany, Jeremy?
No.
Oh yeah, it's like. Everything over there is just a fantastic experience, but Germany is really, really interesting. I think I'd like to go to the UK Games Expo sometime.
Yeah, that looks like fun.
But yeah,
I just want to go to the Tokyo Market. Like, I want to try it all. Like, I want to go to the Tokyo Market and see these little small games. Like, there's games that people literally make by hand, and they bring them to the convention, and that's all they have.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like. It's like the physical version of Make 50, Make 100, it's like, hey, this is what I'm bringing to town. There's publishers that do that. They're like, hey, this is it, so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So now we are going to shift a little bit more to the channel. We're going to talk about kind of what we want to see for the channel, maybe what we're envisioning for the channel, things we want to do better for the channel, for you, for watching it. And this is probably the thing that you're going to listen to the most and go, oh, I have a few ideas for you too, MVM. And do make those down in the comments below because we do want to hear it, and we'll do what we can. We're not going to make any promises.
We're definitely not going to make any promises.
Wow.
Don't believe any promises.
We promise to do every suggestion you suggest.
Ryan is going to do them all
personally. The first one's like, I want David to shave his beard. Nope, we're not doing anything.
That is not happening. You're going to have to take it up with Alicia. She likes the beard. It's staying. So we're going to talk about what we're looking forward to for the channel. And again, if you don't mind, we'll start with Emily.
I am happy to. So we're at Chit Chat 92.
We are at Chit Chat.
I am excited and most anticipating Chit Chat 100.
Chit Chat 100 will be an exciting
100
thing.
episodes.
Yeah, I really just want to do something
can't
big. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but
I have to do something big.
I'm just excited for it. I just remember in kindergarten we had like 100 day.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if people still do this.
That.
Where like on the 100th day of school they would do like, you count these 100, you get 100 candies, you do it. And this is what I'm envisioning Chit Chat 100 looks like.
Well, we're going to take that theme. We're going to do gift bags with like popcorn balls and cookies and juice boxes.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds like a kindergarten way to celebrate.
It seems wild. A lot has changed over the past 100 episodes, but we're still here talking about board games. It just seems kind of wild when you think about. We're just like, let's talk about board games. Sit down in some chairs. You know?
Yeah, that's all we're doing.
That was it. That was how much thought we had into the first episode of Chit Chat.
I mean, it was a little bit more than that, but
yeah,
we wanted to do this, and it has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get there, I think. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Definitely within the next couple months.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the next couple months because there's only 8.
That's 8 episodes.
I know. So that leads me to my most anticipated, and that is specific to Chit Chat. I want to do more of them. I know we've been off for like what, almost 2 months.
Well, it was the holidays, the New Year, COVID.
Almost 2 months, and
a lot happened in the past 2 months.
None of us want that to happen. We know a lot of people like Chit Chat. We want to do more and more of them. I'm not going to go so crazy as to say we're going to do them every week, but I do want to try to do more of them. And part of that is to overcome the challenge of coordinating our schedules. And not only that, with coordinating the schedule with Jeremy, who's out of town, we're going to have to coordinate our schedule with Emily, who will be out of town. So what this means is we're going to be sort of reformulating Chit Chat a little bit so that there may be episodes where it's me and Emily, or Jeremy and Ryan, or me and Ryan, or
special guests that are going to pop in.
Yeah. So we're just going to try to make it happen more often. We're probably going to shift the format a little bit heavier on the talking about games we've been playing, which has always been a part of Chit Chat, probably the anchor portion of Chit Chat, along with some topical conversations, but not topical conversations every single episode.
Well, I think it's difficult. It's a difficult balance because we really want to talk about what we've been playing. And sometimes when we go multiple weeks, it's like we could talk for 30 minutes just about the games we played.
Yes. It is. And often, sometimes we go 1 week and we've played so much that it's hard to fit all that in. And then a little view behind the curtains, it is also challenging sometimes when we're like, hey, we're doing Chit Chat in a few days. What's the topic? And then you're sitting there and we're trying to figure out what can we talk about? What's the topic? And then maybe it doesn't happen because we couldn't come up with a good topic. So now we're just going to be comfortable with doing some episodes that are a little bit different and a little bit more focused on the games we've been playing. Exactly. Just chit chat.
I've always liked that the best parts of this are just hanging out with you guys and talking to you.
Yeah, and the good news is hopefully you'll get a lot more of it and hopefully you enjoy all of it. Yeah. And did you just say something akin to it's about the friends you make along the way?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. I'm glad to have you guys here. The best Chit Chats we've done are the ones when we have Jeremy here. I love having Jeremy right next to me in Chit Chat and being able to all physically be in the same space.
I like being next to you, Ryan.
Wow.
You're warm.
There's a lot of love
You're
going
warm.
on.
I want to change my most anticipated now. No, I'm just kidding. So that's what I'm looking forward to is doing things a little bit different on Chit Chat specifically. We've got a lot more in store for the channel as well, but that in particular is something I want to get going.
Yeah. Well, and I think my most anticipated is kind of along the lines of new content, of some new things that we want to do. And one of those things is something that I've wanted to do for a while, where it's just where we can talk about things that we like outside of games. And we did a little bit of that today. We got to talk about some things that we like outside of games. But I'd love to just sit down with whoever, you or Jeremy, just on a Monday morning and talk about what movies we watched that weekend, or talk about what books we're reading, or, what's on TV right now, right? And I think that stuff is fun to talk about. It's fun to have people in the comments talking about that. And it's fun to let you all get to know our preferences, because the things that we like outside of board games definitely influence what we like in board games.
And we like to talk about them. So I know there's probably some of you watching, and we love you, that don't want to hear us talk about movies.
And that's great. It's going to be its own thing.
And that's okay. But sometimes we just want to talk about those things. So we're going to. So if you want to watch it. Hopefully you'll be entertained. But if you don't, that's okay too.
And then the second thing, as far as new content, is something I've been wanting to do for a while, actually pre-COVID, but then with COVID...
I know this one.
Yeah, I want to do more travel-oriented programming that's shot on location. I want to go places and film stuff at the location. And I like that idea. I think that's great. I think that we can bring a level of production to that kind of content. I don't want to say too much because I want you to see it and kind of be surprised when those episodes start to drop. But we're starting to coordinate that right now. Made a couple connections for some things that we're going to shoot over the next, I don't know, 6 months or so.
Yeah, these are not going to be things that come
tomorrow
often.
I wish if I thought this through, we could have been like, we're dropping one tomorrow.
Well, that would be nice. That would be nice.
This is new content that we're planning on spreading out over the course of the year. I mean, it's a format that's going to take more work, I think, than most of our normal formats.
It will take a lot of editing work and a lot of post-production stuff.
But it's going to be, I'm really excited about trying it. And just like with any great programming, I mean, if people love it, we'll do more. And if you guys don't like it, we just won't do more of it.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with this last tease, if Ryan won't. If you want an idea of it, it's going to be more like a Travel Channel-esque type of program, but related to board games.
But more focused on board games.
Well, no, but I mean, it'll be the kind of show you'd see on the Travel Channel.
I know.
But with board
games. We've been working really hard to get our production level up to that quality.
Yeah.
It's been great. It's been
I think we're getting there. Jeremy, what about you?
Whew. So much, man. So much I want for this channel because, we just have a lot going on. Like right now, there's so many things on Kickstarter and we're covering a lot of that stuff. And it's like, I just want to get back to like covering all these like games that I'm playing that are on the retail side, and even some of the ones that just delivered. I want to cover those games and show you what we finally think about them, do some more reviews for the channel because we want to make sure you know our opinions on these games. And even for some of the ones that got previewed by other people on our channel, I would love to talk about those games from my perspective, now that they have arrived. And I like to talk more critically about games that we've touched because from beginning to now, what changed? What's better? What's, is this good still or whatever? So that's a big thing for me. But I've been talking to David about this and I've been playing around with the idea. But another type of thing that's just like this called We Have Concerns. And it's an idea. It's kind of another video podcast form. We present some things and some ideas that are positive and always very positive, but we have some concerns about it, okay?
Yeah, I think when Jeremy's talked to me about this format, I really love the name, and that's honestly the biggest hook that got me interested in this. But we get painted a lot of times with this brush of we're overly positive, and we never are negative. And we've addressed this a million times. We share plenty of criticisms, and as Jeremy just said, we do have concerns at times about things. With that said, we will always generally prefer to be positive because we consider ourselves advocates for the hobby. I'm also just not a big fan of putting negative energy out into the world.
There's a lot of it already.
None of us are. So generally speaking, we're going to be positive, but I think this format's great because it gives us an opportunity for each of us to come to a panel, if you will, whoever's going to be involved, share something they're excited about, but maybe raise one concern, or maybe the other people could hear what they're saying and go, oh, but what about this? Is this going to potentially, so we can bring some of those things to light that we haven't typically been able to, other than maybe potentially some of our reviews. And I will sort of echo what Jeremy said about that as well. And you'll never not hear us say this, I think, ever. We want to do more reviews. Sure. A year from now, I'll also say we want to do more reviews, and so on and so on. Even if we've done more, I think the more of that we can do, the better. But we've been so lucky to be able to cover so many, Kickstarters via previews or round ones. And we've been really excited and happy with a lot of that content that we've been bringing. It sounds like a lot of you have as well. So it's going to be more of a mix, but those are some of the specifics that we might be seeing on the channel.
I like doing those reviews. But I really like the response that we've been getting on our live stream plays and our round ones or our first impressions videos. Because I can tell you all day, give you 10 reasons why I love a game. But if I can let you watch me play it and you can see and you can decide for yourself, oh yeah, I get to see that in play and I really like it. I think we played Mind Management on the live stream a couple weeks ago. And people were like, I had my eye on this, but now that I've seen how it plays, like, I need this game in my collection.
Yeah, that live stream in particular had a lot of people commenting.
I think there's been a lot of people. Mind Management kind of was swelled up, and a lot of people were playing it, and then it kind of like it was definitely well regarded in the hobby, but since it didn't like super go into retail,
sure.
I think it kind of was just passed up by a lot of people. And then the new Kickstarter came, people were talking about it again. A lot of people were really wondering, does it really live up to the hype? Mm-hmm. And then after watching the video, they were like, yeah, I think it does. Well, especially because we played 2 games in an hour and a half, which is unheard of for Hidden Movement.
Yeah, so, I blew that first game. Don't get me started on that day. I totally blew that first game.
But it's fun. So, I mean, I like doing that kind of content because, you know, I like telling you what I think, but I also like you just making your own decisions for things, too.
So those are our most anticipated things. Very quickly, so that we can wrap this episode, because that's another thing I want to do, is I want to make Chit Chats just a little bit shorter.
We'll see.
We're going to talk very briefly, and I'm saying that for everybody in the room and in Milwaukee, about the games we've been playing recently. And I'm going to start with Emily, although, spoiler alert, I'll bet she says Earth.
You know what? I played 23 games this weekend. I can only talk about one of them?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's going to be Earth. I feel like David was saying that also specifically to me because he knows I'm about to go on like a 30-minute alone diatribe on how much I love Earth.
No, you're always good about it.
Video. Follow the link to Emily's video on Earth.
But yes, loved it so much. Honestly, I'm not really quick to back games because I would like to play them first. I like to think about it for a long time. But after we played our first game, David and I was like, I'm literally backing.
Yeah, she was. Away. Like, she liked Boone Lake. But man, when we played Earth the first time, it was just she and I in a 2-player game. She commented while we were playing. And when any of us, while we're in the middle of a game, stop and go, oh, this is interesting. I'm liking this. And she did that a number of times. So I know she was hooked.
So I would say
love it too.
Engine Builder can be played 2 to 5. I played it at 2, 3, 4, and 5. I liked it at all player counts. I know it's a bit of a different experience, but the action selection, the fact that you're following all the time, you're always doing something. It's just like, it's highly accessible. People have called it like a tiny bit heavier wingspan. Just a little bit. I think it's going to be great for people who are typically in the hobby, but even people who are typically don't gravitate towards board games as much, a great game to get them into the hobby a bit more and show all the cool things you can do and all the great time you can have at the table. Super excited for this one.
Let me just say this, because this is my favorite story. Like David said, we went away this weekend with some of our friends to play some games, and Emily had to leave early the night before.
That's true.
Oh, She was
literally packing up her bags, coat on, and one of our friends said, before you go, can you help us set up Earth? And that turned into, can you teach us Earth? And somewhere in between that, Emily decided, I'm just going to stay and play Earth. So she ended up staying and playing through the whole game.
Now that says something. If you've got your coat on and you're headed out the door, and an hour and a half later you've got another game of Earth under your belt, you might like it. That's funny.
We played it, what, three times?
3 times this weekend alone.
So yeah, one last thing on that. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I will say this: if you enjoy Wingspan, I can't fathom you not liking Earth.
Well, base Wingspan. It brings a lot of the Wingspan expansions bring some of the stuff that Earth started with. So I'd like to see where Earth goes from here, because I imagine it's ripe for expansions as well.
I feel it is, although it offers quite a bit. The game I want to mention, I had a chance to be on the Board and Dice Con live stream over the weekend, and I played 2 games. I'm going to mention one. I'll talk about the other. The first one I played Saturday night was Nightmare Cathedral. This is like an area control, and I'm just going to repeat what Rayner said. He said people have been comparing it to Risk. It's not like that. The cool thing is it's purely deterministic. And it has this really cool card mechanic where you have these card actions, and you're going to be getting cards in your hand, and they're multi-use because you can burn them when you're in combat, because all the cards have basically defense and combat symbols at the bottom. So when you go into a combat, you can put cards down equal to the number of forces you have in that area and, build up your attacks and defense. But those same cards could potentially be used as upgrades for your 4 or 5 main actions. So it's pretty good. And now I've talked about Nightmare Cathedral.
I was going to say.
I was like, wow, let's really get into this one.
I'll switch it. The other one I played, so check out Nightmare Cathedral. I think it's coming out earlier. I want to say in the next 6 months they're going to have a Kickstarter for it, or in the next 3 months or something. The other one was Terracotta Army. I played that on Sunday, and then I played it again on Monday night, or some night this week with Emily and Rob Rouse from Blue Peg Pink Peg. This game is more of a Euro-y sort of game. I would say it's squarely middleweight. It's definitely not middle to heavy. I would say it's right in the middle weight. It's got an interesting worker mechanism where you're putting them on this wheel. It has 3 different rings that rotate, and you can do different things. But the whole game revolves around this mausoleum where you're putting all of these terracotta statues of different types and different types of warriors. And it does some really interesting things that I found very satisfying in my 2 plays. So I'm looking forward to that one, too.
I like the action selection on that one with the wheels, too, because you could spend currency to turn the wheels a little bit, turn the concentric wheels, and really get to decide what you're going to do that turn. Yeah,
you're building your worker placement spot, basically, out of the 3 rings, and the rings are rotating. So there's some timing involved and some seizing of opportunities of when things are lined up just perfectly and hoping someone else doesn't take that spot.
Yeah, well, I got to replay a lot of games that I had played last year that I really liked. Got to play Dune Imperium, Rise of Ix with the collectors.
With all the bits.
Oh, it did a lot for me. I'll just say that I loved it. But the game the game I want to talk about is Anunnaki. So I got to play this game. This is one from Simone Luciani. Which is very different from his normal games. This is a 4X style game, but it plays in 90 minutes. And literally, we had 3 players, first game ever, 90 minutes, and it feels like a dudes on the map combat game, like Kemet style, but it's not. Like there's just so much going on. I can't even stress enough. It has this cool action selection system where you're moving around this star grid with all your actions, and every time you move from one action to another, you get to place a cube in between them, and you trigger a bunch of stuff. It's a very satisfying game. So it was nice getting to play that because we're going to be doing a live stream of that.
Tuesday.
I don't know when this video is going to post, but it may already have happened.
Oh no, it'll be Tuesday.
Okay. It'll be the next Tuesday. We're doing a live stream of that. You can always go back and find it on our channel. But also, I want to mention, over the weekend I played Ark Nova 2 more times. And that brings my total Ark Nova to like 4 or 5 times I've played that game. And it just keeps getting better for me. Like, that game is going to be in the BGG probably top 10.
It'll be there. It'll be there shortly. I guarantee you.
The game is so good.
It's going to climb as soon as more and more people have it. I firmly believe that. Jeremy, what have you been playing?
So the big one that I played last night was Dice Realms.
I've been waiting for you imported that bad boy, right?
Games. I paid $130 to import this game.
Oh wow!
And I decided to just take this one on the chin for the industry and see if it was worth it. Because nobody has it. So I was like, unless you're on the other side of the pond, you don't have it. So I figured, why not? Let me just try it out. And what this game is it has some mechanics that are similar to Dice Forge. You're rolling these dice, you're adding things, and you're upgrading them. But there's 600 different faces, and there's like 30 or 40, there's like 30-ish different faces that you can put on there. So way more than Dice Forge. And also a lot more gameplay going on because you have, it's like, I think 20 or 30 different, you have all these different combinations you can make of the game. And you're just trying to get to 10 points. And you're constantly rolling and upgrading. And there's also a die that kind of counteracts what you're doing. So it takes away from what you're doing. And it plays out in this theme that, you know, not necessarily a big thematic game, but it's playing out like in a village and you're trying to, you know, get more wheat and food. But if you roll winter or you attack each other, bad things happen to your dice. But generally, it's a really quick game. We're talking like 30 to 45 minutes tops. Some games are even quicker, just depending on how you gather resources or lose points. So it's a really interesting game. Is it $120 worth? I don't know about all that. But I will say, definitely had a good time with it because even picking it up and putting it away because I have these organizer trays, it wasn't bad at all. Like I was like, once you get this game organized, all 668 faces, you get them organized. Yeah. So it's going to be okay. But until then.
That sounds like a lot of game.
But you know what? That's the thing. It's not. It is totally not. It's just that initial, let's put everything away. Let's make sure we have everything organized right for the next time so things go faster. And they even have these awesome combinations of, hey, if you want to set up a game that's heavy on attacks, do this. If you want to have a choice between, you know, getting too much wheat and then also, you know, so if you get too much wheat, you can trigger the game earlier. But there's also a strategy of not doing that and then having other sets of dice that are converting to points instead. but you got to make those choices as you roll and add your dice and choose how you want to upgrade. And that little popping off of the dice is really, really easy. They actually give you like a little piece to pop it off very quickly. Yeah, it's really cool. It's actually a really cool game.
That sounds great.
Well, before we go, I did want to mention one thing. I promised a friend of ours, Kevin Grote, that I'd mention this. I think it's still running. Old Man Games. He's got a board game Find It book on Kickstarter right now. He's an incredible photographer. And if you don't remember, Kevin had been on the channel doing some content with us a couple years ago now. He's an excellent photographer, and he's got this book that's basically a Find It book that's all revolving around board games. I assume currently on Kickstarter, depending on when you're watching this.
It is, and if you haven't joined our Discord yet, this is a good reason to join because we're doing a giveaway to win a pledge of that as well in our Discord. So join and find out.
Nice. I completely forgot about that part. All right, so anyone have anything else before we wrap? The answer is no, by the way.
I mean, I have so many more games. Let me talk about the other 22 games I played that weekend.
So we will talk about way more games the next time on Chit Chat, and I promise it will come sooner than the last one was back in December.
It won't get deleted this time.
I don't promise. I don't promise I won't. I might delete it. But either way, until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then. Congratulations, you got to the end of one of our videos. Now, if you want more practice, just click on the video over here. It's another video. You might not have seen it yet, so click on it. If you don't want to do that, at least click on the subscription button below. That always helps us. And if you want notifications, please ring that bell.